Hey everybody, this is Stellar Firefly, and in this video we'll be progressing into Stage 2 of the Overclock Origins Playground series, also known as Oops! Stage 2 itself will be covering the basic changes to zombie mechanics that we've begun with the installation of the Walking Dead add-on in Stage 1. However, this is only the first part of that, which is why we're calling it Stage 2A. In this video, we're going to be implementing the change in humanity gain for killing a zombie. It sounds very simple on the surface, and in a way it kind of is. But this will be another very important step for new admins towards advanced modifications for their server, because in this video, we'll actually be creating our very first add-on. And yes, this will be a proper add-on, and not just some edit to a server-side file, or just some code injection into an existing file, because then it would just be a script, not an add-on. Remember the difference? At this point, some of you may be thinking, holy crap, making an actual add-on? Are we really ready for this? But no worries, this particular add-on is going to be about as simple as an add-on can possibly get, and it can be easily done and, more importantly, easily understood, with just the knowledge we've covered in my video tutorials so far. I wouldn't just slam you all headfirst into something that's super complicated and way over your heads, would I? On the other hand, some of you others may be thinking, well, all we're really doing is making a change to the humanity gain for zombie kills. Do we really need to make a whole add-on for this? And technically, no, we don't really need to. This particular change can be easily done with a simple one-line edit in a certain file within one of our PBOs, and boom, we'd be all done. But in this video, we're going to actually be doing it quote-quote properly, meaning that this particular customization is going to be properly isolated as an add-on, and not hacked into what should be an unmodified core PBO file. And we're even going to make it configurable within the proper general configuration script, init.sqf. You know, the script where you configure a whole ton of other stuff. So, are you ready? Cool, let's do it. The first thing we'll need to do is to grab a copy of our DayZ_code.pbo file from our server. So let's fire up our FTP client and connect to our server and... uh-oh. Our server's refusing our connection? Let's try again a couple times to be sure. And nope, it really is refusing our connection. So what's up with that? And why the heck are you showing this in this video? Well, this is just a quick reminder for something that I mentioned way back in the very beginning, or more accurately, in the very beginner's tutorial videos. As the GTX gaming servers are improved and upgraded, certain aspects of them may well be changed, so don't panic and immediately assume that something's broken. Let's instead just head over to our TC admin control panel and click on the FTP login info icon just to see if anything's changed. And yep, check this out. The IP address is the same, and matches our server's IP address, but take a look at the port number. It's 8821 now, instead of just 21. So we'll just head back over to our FTP client and edit our connection info to use port 8821, and then log in. Of course, it could have just as easily been some kind of connection issue or server-side failure, but remember to not get all flustered and check the simple stuff out first. We're back up and running with just our own 20 seconds of investigation, instead of assuming something's broke on GTX's end and submitting a support ticket and waiting for a reply. They may be really good at responding to support tickets quickly, but nobody is 20 seconds good. Now that we're properly connected to our server, we can find the DayZ_code.pbo file by navigating over to our bottom level folder, which is named just our server's IP address and port number, then into @DayZ_epic, add-ons, then just scrolling down a bit to find DayZ_code.pbo. We'll download that to some folder on our local system where we'll be doing our magic. Next step, we'll open up that folder in Windows Explorer and double-click the DayZ_code.pbo to open it up with a PBO manager. Then in PBO Manager, we'll open up DayZ_code.pbo and open up the compile directory. Here we see a ton of .sqf files, and the one in which we're interested in is here, local_eventkill.sqf. We'll right-click on it and choose Extract to DayZ code. A quick switch back to our Windows Explorer, and we'll navigate into the folders that it just created, DayZ_code, compile. And there's our extracted local_eventkill.sqf. Now we'll just open it up in our favorite text editor. This particular tutorial won't go into a lot of detail about the ARMA2/DayZ scripting language, but we'll still at least briefly mention the changes that we'll make so that you all don't get completely confused. Right before the main code body, we're going to add if is nil, and in double quotes, DayZ_z kill humanity, then DayZ underscore Z kill humanity equals 5, just like this. This code sets our default value. If we don't change this setting elsewhere by the time the game gets to this code, then it'll use the value 5, which is the hard-coded amount of humanity one gains for a Z kill on an epic server. A bit further down in the code, we're now going to replace this hard-coded number 5 with the variable DayZ underscore Z kill humanity. And that's it for this file. Don't forget to save your changes. Okay, time for a little side note. If we really didn't care at all about creating a proper add-on, then some of you may be thinking, we can probably just copy this file straight back into the PBO and upload it right back to our server, replacing the original DayZ underscore code.pbo file. Then we'll be all done right here. The problem is, it won't work. I'll show you a quick little demonstration of what'll happen, but I won't go through the actual steps so that it won't be confusing. But suffice it to say that just for this test, I set the default humanity gain to 31 instead of just 5, a much larger and a prime number. So that if it works, then it'll be pretty obvious, and it won't be because we accidentally killed more Zeds than we thought. We'll hit Insert and see our current humanity level is at 2589. So this kill should bump it up by 31 points, making it 2620. One walker kill later, and we hit Insert again and see, well, we're only at 2594. We gained only 5 humanity. Let's bandage up and try it once more, just to make sure that it wasn't some glitch or misread. Nope, we gained another 5, taking us to 2599. So okay, it didn't work, but why not? Was it our code? Was it bad? Did we do something wrong? Actually, the only thing we did wrong was to try and change the original DayZ underscore code.pbo file, because this is one of those files that is common between both the client and the server. What actually happened was that the code was changed on the server just fine, but the client side still contained the original code with the hard-coded 5 humanity value. In fact, we're actually lucky that the game is playable at all, because if signature verifications were enabled on our server, then we wouldn't have been able to connect to begin with, and this is actually what we would have seen, essentially telling us that we can't play because our client files don't match the server files. So yeah, let's get back to doing this the right way, and creating a proper add-on that should work for all servers. Okay, so how do we make this a proper add-on? Funny you should ask, because we already did. That simple code change was all that we really needed. Hey, I told you this was going to be the most simple add-on in the history of add-ons. Technically, the only thing we need to do now is to properly place the file and package it up. But to be sure, the packaging is every bit as important as the coding. So here's how to properly place and package our add-on. First, we'll head over to our web browser and connect to our tcadmin control panel, and then shut down our server. We didn't need to stop it earlier because all we did was download a PBO file, but now we're about to make some changes, so let's make sure that it's shut down. Then we'll head back to our FTP client, which should still be connected to our server, and navigate over to our MP missions folder, and then our map.instance folder, in our case, DayZ underscore epic underscore 13.tavi, and then into the custom folder. If you installed other add-ons, then you may see their folders in here. We're making our own little add-on, so let's make a folder for it called ZKillHumanity. A little hint here. Don't use folders with spaces in their names. If you really want the name to be more readable, then feel free to use underscores instead. But save yourself some serious hassle and never use spaces. And then we'll open up our ZKillHumanity folder and create another folder beneath it called Compile. And finally, we'll open up the compile folder we just created and upload our edited local underscore eventkill.sqf file. You know, the one where we made those code changes. And now here's the key, the correct way to have both the server and client share our changed code instead of the default code that's still in the original .pbo file. We'll go back up 2 directory levels so that we're back in the custom folder, and then we'll open up the compiles.sqf file in a text editor. If your FTP client doesn't have a built-in text editor, then just download it, edit it locally, and then don't forget to upload it again afterward. We'll perform a search for local underscore eventkill. That's right, for the file name that we just edited. You'll find this line right here. Again, this won't be a technical talk about the scripting language, but just at the basic level. This code sets an identifier called local_event_kill to what is essentially a precompiled version of the script. The key thing to notice here is that the path it gives to the SQF file begins with \z \addons \DayZ_code \compile, and then the file name. Get familiar with this because anytime you see this, it's a reference to a file contained inside of a PBO. What we're going to do is make a copy of this line, then comment out the old line just to make a backup, and then on our new version of this line, we'll change the entire first part of the path from \z \addons \DayZ_code to custom / and our add-ons folder name. In short, what we've just told it to do is instead of precompiling the original code inside the PBO, go to find the version that we just copied underneath the custom zkillhumanity compiles directory and precompile that one instead. Doing it in this way, this is the version of the SQF that will be used by the server and by all clients connecting to it. Note that in the change we just made, there is no starting \. People often accidentally put one in, and then they find that their add-on doesn't work anymore, so be careful. And don't forget to save the file and, if necessary, upload it back to your server. And finally, one last change. Even if our add-on works perfectly at this point, there's really no way for us to tell because, well, it'll just use the default value of 5 humanity for each zombie kill. So in our FTP client, we'll go back up one more directory level and open up our init.sqf file in a text editor. Then over where we've added all of our other customizations, we'll add one more line. DayZ_zKillHumanity equals 1. Because remember, our plan was to keep zombie kill humanity gain at just 1 point to balance out their new slow and easy to kill nature. We'll save the file to our server and, you guessed it, we'll fire up our server and test out our changes. If we didn't totally screw anything up, then not only will our server not crash, but also each of our zombie kills should award us with only a single point of humanity. And so I started at 2633, and when I kill this Z, when I kill this Z, when I kill this frickin' Z, I should only have gained 1 point and be at 2634. Check. And one more time, just for good measure. 2635, perfect. Well, that takes care of placement and testing. So how do we package our spiffy new add-on? Assuming, of course, that not every noob admin watching this video didn't already have their own personal version of it. Well, let's go back to our FTP client and go back to our custom folder. There's our zkillhumanity folder beneath it, and everything underneath it is already set up and with all the right edits and file structure and fully tested and working. So let's just download this whole folder onto our local drive somewhere. All I did was make a new folder called My Add-ons, and I'll download the whole zkillhumanity folder into it. Then I'll just add the entire thing into a single archive called zkillhumanity.7z, or .zip or .rar, or whatever format you want to use. And this is our add-on archive that we can tell people to download if they want to install our add-on onto their own server. What will our install instructions look like? Simple. It'll have 3 required steps and 1 optional step. Step 1. Download the zkillhumanity.7z archive and extract it to your local drive. Step 2. Upload the zkillhumanity folder that you extracted into your mpmissions map custom folder. Step 3. Find and edit your compiles.sqf file and look for this line. Local_event_kill equals compile preprocess file line numbers and the original path, and replace it with the line local_event_kill equals compile preprocess file line numbers and your new path. Essentially, you'll just want to provide the text in the instructions so that others can just copy and paste it. Step 4. Optional. Add the following line to your init.sqf file. DayZ_zkillhumanity equals 1, and change the number to however much humanity you want a zombie kill to award. These install instructions will probably sound really familiar, and it should be no surprise. Not all add-ons are written this way, but a large number of them are, and you really did just write a really simple but fully functional add-on. It would also be nice to include a copy of these instructions within the add-on package itself, and name it installinstructions.txt or something. Finally, let's talk about a few caveats and other things to keep in mind, because, yeah, there's always a catch. Number 1. Remember that we modified an original Epic file to write this add-on, straight from Epic's DayZ_code.pbo file. If this file ever changes, then there's no guarantee that our add-on won't break, or, even worse, that our add-on won't break Epic. This shouldn't happen unless a new version of the Epic mod is released, but it does mean that our add-on is guaranteed to work only with Epic version 1051, which is the version from which we acquired our original file. When a new version of Epic is released, chances are really good that we'll need to go back and update our add-ons so that they work with the new Epic. And the more complex our add-on is, then the more work it's likely to require. This is the main reason why many add-ons stop working when a new version of the mod that they are based upon is released. Number 2. We've essentially appropriated the local_eventkill.sqf file for ourselves. This means that if there is another add-on that also needs to make changes to this file, then it's almost certain that these two add-ons will be incompatible with one another unless either you or the other add-on author takes specific steps to account for one another's code changes. This is the main reason why incompatibilities exist between add-ons. These are no hooks into existing code, or an API, or class extensions, or, well, for those of you who know what any of those things mean. We've essentially taken the original local_eventkill.sqf code and replaced it with our own. It may still have most of the original code in there, but if anybody else tries to do the same, then they probably won't have both the original code and your changes tucked inside of their changes. Sometimes there are more friendly methods to get around this, and we may even talk about them in future video tutorials, but more often than not, the changes are just too complex. Number 3. This particular method of writing add-ons will only allow for modifications to existing code, because obviously that's exactly what we did. We modified the behavior of the pre-existing local_eventkill.sqf file. So this particular technique is best for changing the behavior of an existing mechanism, at least for the most part. There are some other tricks that can be done, for example, to take advantage of certain events firing to add new functionality during those events. And of course, there are ways of adding new functionality within an add-on, but those are clearly more complex methods than this one, and we may cover those kinds of methods in a future video tutorial. Okay, that's enough of me droning on for now, so let's go ahead and close out this video. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope that this tutorial video was helpful to some of you. We're clearly starting to take off our training wheels now, but hey, if that's what you gotta do to get the functionality that you want on your server, then let's do it. Please don't hesitate to like or subscribe if you feel so inclined, and as always, good luck, have fun, and watch your back.